BOTV Go app එක දැම්ම දාගන්න. BOTV Go SLT BOTV TV බලන හොඳම විදිහ.
Don't forget, emergency law is in effect. 2 pre-dawn failures to heed security directives lead to a death. Views of a dab hand. Sri Lanka's only field marshal believes seizing swords and knives aren't enough.
We also must gear up ourselves to go on the offensive operations aimed at crushing the terrorism.
Even the legal framework needs work.
We can't be murdering all the terrorists and catch them. We can't be murdering all the terrorists and catch them.
Pandora's box. The tourism sector calls out for clear directives on the government's relief package.
Period will be at least 6 to 8 months.
Which means probably that we might not even be granted a moratorium by the bank.
It's all good. Commander of the Sri Lanka Army urges public to get on with their lives.
We don't have to worry about Sri Lankan situation. It is controllable, it is contained.
All that and much more coming up on First at 9 this Saturday, the 11th of May 2019.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9.
අයඩෙක්ස් ඇතුළත ඉදිමීම සමනය කරන අතර විනාඩි 5කින් ක්‍රියා කිරීම ආරම්භයි. අයඩෙක්ස් දිවියට නව දිනයක්. අයඩෙක්ස් වෙතින් එසේ කැක්කුමට විශේෂඥා අයඩෙක්ස් හෙඩ් ෆාස්ට් ඉක්මන් සහනය අදම අත්විඳින්න.
Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhammika Kanayaka. Let's start with the local stories. Police have declared a 3-day grace period for those in possession of illegal explosives to hand them over to the nearest police station. Speaking at the Ministry of Defence, police spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara said the window opened at 6 this morning and will close at 6 a.m. on the 14th. In the meantime, residents near the Vallampitiya copper factory demonstrated with agitation over its goods being relocated.
Residents in the locality of the Vallampitiya copper factory surrounded the property today, demonstrating against the recent shift of material from the factory to another warehouse in Kalanimulla by a group of people. The copper factory is owned by the perpetrator of the attack at Shangri-La Hotel in Sam Ahmed. Vallampitiya police arrived at the copper factory and was confronted by area residents who expressed their displeasure over the matter. During the visit, police officers checked 2 lorries parked in the factory premises as well as the factory. Upon discovering a damaged motorbike within the factory, security forces questioned the factory's security officer.
The CID conducted an investigation into the murder of 2 police officers in Vaunathy on the 30th of November last year. On the results of the investigations and on reasonable doubt, the CID arrested a suspect named Kadiragamar Thambi Rasakumar, who goes by the aliases Kannan and Ajanthan. He was detained and interrogated by the CID. Meanwhile, the CID also arrested several other suspects over the same murders after the Easter Sunday attacks. They were arrested along with revolvers and ammunition snatched from the killed police officers. The suspects include the driver and accomplices of Zaharan Hashim. Accordingly, Rasakumar was arrested upon reasonable doubt and was today released upon being produced by the Batticaloa Magistrates Court. Now, there was a fatality last night owing to the failure to heed directives of security forces. We will be bringing you the details of it later in the bulletin. In the meantime, Commander of the Sri Lankan Army, Lieutenant General Mahesh Senanayake, assures that the security situation the country was plunged into following the Easter Sunday attacks is now contained. Speaking to Reuters last evening, the commander gave his vote of confidence for the public to go about their day-to-day lives. He added that over 75% of the suspects are already arrested.
From the known network, as you know, top 9+ people have already committed suicide or gone. Then second layer of subversive or the terrorists that you may call it, or extremists, have been arrested. More than 75% of the list have been arrested. We are working to find out or identify, locate the peripheral parties who are involved in that. When you take the ideology of this group of people, and it is almost same as ISIS. How deep they are linked is under investigation. Of course, there is a link, but how deep it is the matter. So we don't have to worry about Sri Lankan situation. It is controllable, it is contained. When you arrest number of people who are hardcore, and I am talking about peripheral people now, how many of them are capable of? How many of them have the equipment or the explosive or the dangerous items to do it? All that matters. So that is why at the Army Command, I said, people don't have to worry about it. Let the armed forces handle it. You get back to work, people should have their normal lifestyle today again. So I'm not expecting, but definitely this is a matter of ideology. It is not terrorism that they are asking for land. They are asking for any object as much such. So in that case, fight ideology, you always could find a lone wolf. So that is not easy to handle in a society, whether it is Sri Lanka or anywhere.
Now, in the meantime, UNP parliamentarian Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca is disgruntled on the security deployments at present intended to bring the country's terror situation under control. The Field Marshal believes that mere discoveries of swords does not mean that the relevant operations are on the right track, and a long-term plan is required to effectively tackle the situation. Speaking at a meeting of the Organisation of Professional Associations of Sri Lanka last evening, he also insisted that the country's legal framework also needs updating to match the demands of the latest anti-terror operations.
The present terrorism is not threatening our territorial integrity. 50% of the military and the police now, they are not seeing terrorism. The solution is mainly twofold. You can have a peaceful solution where we will initiate discussions with the people who are directly involved in that. Military action also has to be initiated. Of course, I don't see as we have got foolproof military deployment at the moment, and the politicians actually does not understand anything about security. At the moment, what we are doing is trying to prevent any further terrorist activities. So we have a defensive system at the moment. The offensive operations, any action taken to destroy the terrorists is just beginning. Then on the other hand, we also must gear up ourselves to go on the fairly low intensity offensive operations, of course aimed at crushing the terrorists. But I believe we will have to form a very major long-term strategy for this. We are capturing some swords somewhere. So by getting things like that, we can say that we are on the right track to crush the terrorism. We have to ensure that our legal framework is ready to meet up with this situation. We can't be murdering all the terrorists when we catch them. I was never happy when I was even commander of the army with the intelligence, effectiveness of the intelligence in this country. But I saw a lot of lapses in our intelligence organization. The moment I saw incidents on the first day, I said, to me it looks like minimum a 2-year campaign to ensure these terrorist elements are totally eliminated. So to do something like that, then only we can give a certificate to the public and say, you are safe now. Priority 1, you need the proper political leadership. The political leader must think on the right line.
Now, President Maithripala is adamant that he will never step down on the back of the Easter Sunday terror attacks and vows to fight on and see justice is done. Speaking at an event in Ampara this morning, the head of state revealed that the final report of the committee probing the attacks is due next week. Earlier in the day, the president also visited Kandy.
President Maithripala Sirisena paid homage to the historical temple of the Sacred Tooth relic in Kandy this morning. Meanwhile, the final progress review meeting of the Ampara District Ratavenuwen Ekata Sitimu program was held under patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena this morning at the Mahavidyalaya ground in Ampara.
When terrorists attacked other countries, none of the leaders asked the country's leader to resign. Instead, their request was to defeat terrorism. Likewise, I too will not withdraw, fall, fear or resign. I will defeat these terrorists. Must we put all the functions of the country on hold because of these attacks? If so, it means terrorists have won. In order to defeat them, we must continue with our daily lives. Our security forces, the police and intelligence units are conducting a splendid security operation and all should give their support. I appointed a committee led by a Supreme Court judge to ascertain those responsible for these attacks. They have given 2 interim reports with the final report expected next week. We will ensure that legal action is taken against all those responsible and are held accountable for the lives lost. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe believes that although people lost trust in the government as well as in politicians on the back of the Easter Sunday attacks, some faith was retained on the mechanism which led to the arrests on the same day. The Premier gave his thoughts while addressing an event organised to hand over title deeds to people in the Galle Divisional Secretariat today. People lost trust in this government as well as in all politicians, be they members of the governing party or the opposition, on the back of Easter Sunday attacks. However, we were able to retain the trust of the people to some extent in the mechanism, since we were able to arrest the suspects involved in the Dematagoda attack before 9 p.m. on the day. Has anyone arrested suspects of the so-called IS before 9 hours had elapsed? Due to the measures we took that day, most of the prominent suspects are now arrested. We don't protect any politician, and if there are any accusations, direct them to necessary channels in Parliament. Now, naval officers shot at 2 vehicles for failing to heed orders to stop at 2 checkpoints in Vattala early this morning. One driver, however, was killed when he was shot at close to one of the checkpoints at the Hunupitiya flyover. Meanwhile, media spokesperson for Sri Lanka Navy Lieutenant Commander Isuru Surya Bandara said the driver of the second vehicle was taken into custody and was later handed over to the Kiribati police.
3 naval checkpoints were set up close to the Hunupitiya railway station road in Vattala, taking into consideration the current security situation in the country. At around 12:50 this afternoon, Navy officials opened fire at a speeding car close to one of the 3 Navy checkpoints located along the Hunupitiya-Vattala road. According to the Navy, the car in question was travelling from Hunupitiya to Vattala at the time. The driver of the car, who sustained injuries in the incident, was admitted to a private hospital in Vattala and was later transferred to the National Hospital in Colombo. The driver, however, succumbed to his injuries upon admission to the National Hospital. Chief of Defence Staff Admiral Ravindra C. Vijayagunawardena visited the location where the incident took place this morning. The deceased was identified as 34-year-old Chamara Asanka Ranasinghe, a resident of Vattala and a father of 2. Meanwhile, following the first incident at around 1:50 in the afternoon, naval officers shot at another vehicle for failing to heed orders for inspection close to another naval checkpoint located near the Hunupitiya flyover. The driver, however, did not sustain any injuries. The driver, who was taken into custody by naval officers, was later handed over to the Kiribati police. A breathalyzer test conducted on the individual revealed that he was driving under the influence of alcohol. The driver, said to be a lawyer serving at the Mahara Magistrates Court, was later released by Mahara Magistrates Court, being fined for 2 charges. They include driving under the influence of alcohol and refusing to heed orders.
There's more news on the other side of this short break. Stay tuned.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel. This is AdaDerana 24.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, believes he did not veer from his truculent criticism of the country's political leadership as he delivered an emotional sermon in a special service at St. Lucia's Church in Kotahena today. His Eminence deplored inaction, saying those who do not take responsibility are not worthy of being leaders of the country.
Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, presided over a special mass at St. Lucia's Church in Kotahena this morning in memory of those who were killed at St. Anthony's Shrine in Kochikade in the horrendous Easter Sunday attack. Families affected by the attack were also given donations during the service.
I wish to reiterate that it is not only officials who fail to take action despite knowledge of the attack that should be held accountable, but leaders of this country as well. You cannot wash your hands from something like this. They should be punished with their powers stripped off. Those who do not take responsibility are not worthy of being leaders in this country. They should be removed from their positions. God will punish those who do not take action against them. I have received news that there are those who wish to harm me. I'm not afraid. My life belongs to you and God, and I'm ready to sacrifice my life for you. Preparations are underway for the grand finale of Derana 60+ reality TV program, the first of its kind for senior citizens of the country, and it is set to get underway tomorrow. 3 finalists, Jayatilaka Vitana, Clarice Lindsay and Rexy Maximus will compete for the ultimate reality experience. So 60+ fans, mark your calendars for Sunday the 12th of May as the season finale is ready to air live on TV Derana from 7:30 p.m. onwards, where we witness talented seniors showing us how it's never too late to shine.
You're only as old as you feel. Age is nothing but a number. Young at heart. These are all old sayings we've heard time and time again. The reason for such sayings could be that our talents and our contributions are ageless and only continue to transform as we continue to age. Keeping this in mind, TV Derana took the initiative of introducing the first ever reality experience for senior citizens in Sri Lanka, Derana 60+. Entering its second season, TV Derana brought together yet another pool of talents from all across the country. The commencement of the competition saw a participation of 15,000 people. Among the 10 best contestants chosen by the general public are 3 finalists Jayatilaka Vitana, Clarice Lindsay and Rexy Maximus, chosen by an elite panel of judges to compete in an ultimate reality experience, the grand finale. Preparations are currently ongoing for the star-studded event set to be held tomorrow.
Minister of Tourism Development John Amartunga is confident that Sri Lanka's tourism sector will bounce back within the next 3 months and be able to restore the global accolade of best destination to be visited in 2019 bestowed by Lonely Planet. Speaking alongside the minister at the media briefing yesterday, Chairman of Sri Lanka Tourism Development Kishu Gomez said that Sri Lanka is also working on introducing an insurance scheme for foreign tourists in a bid to boost arrival numbers. The subject minister went on to say that the media forum of the Universal Federation of Travel Agents Association is set to be held in Sri Lanka either in June or July this year.
Our annual general meeting is normally towards the end of the year. The need for us to do a mid-year meeting has emerged from the fact that Sri Lankan Association is requested the world to be present here, and we are looking at least 25 to 30 countries participating. This situation demands support from everyone. If this situation has to be brought back to normalcy very soon, all stakeholders have to play an important role, and I see that will certainly happen because there's a lot of sympathy from all over the world in favor of Sri Lanka. It's such a wonderful destination. It's a destination that's consistently grown and that has so much to offer. And we as UFTA would be very delighted to be the ambassadors of this cause.
We still have 7 months ahead of us to capitalize the global accolade bestowed upon us by the Lonely Planet. The chances are that we will bounce back with greater vigor within the next 3 months. I request the UFTAA to take this message to the global travel community that Sri Lanka has taken all possible steps to ensure the security of visitors and is now open for business. Tourist arrivals are rebounding faster than anticipated, with around 2,000 tourists who continue to arrive on a daily basis.
Any tone downing of the travel advisories?
No, we are now appealing to the ambassadors, enlightening them of the security situation, what developments have taken place, and asking them to lift the travel ban, which is the most serious thing. Next is the advisory. That can be revised. That's not difficult at all. Due to the nature of the incidents, they have issued that. Couple of more days, we'll have the advisories amended.
The issue from a tourist standpoint is that when there are travel advisories, their respective countries don't issue insurance. So that is what we're trying to tackle through issuance of an insurance cover from Sri Lanka.
What is the insurance cover?
This go up to $150,000.
We would sincerely like to use one of the 3 hotels damaged on Easter Sunday, and if they are willing to, delegates will definitely be prepared to.
Now, Sri Lanka's $4.4 billion tourism industry is shadowed by booking cancellations following the Easter Sunday attacks. In a bid to rescue the lucrative industry from incurring a loss of $1.5 billion this year, the Ministry of Finance introduced a relief package for the hospitality sector, including a VAT reduction of 10%. But are these proposals enough, or is more needed to ensure the industry's revival? Speaking to First at 9, hoteliers expressed their concerns on the relief package, stating that the government should issue a clear directive for banks giving blanket approvals on moratoriums.
The Cabinet recently approved a special relief package that is intended to revive Sri Lanka's crippled tourism industry, which expected to witness a 30% fall in revenue this year.
In terms of the financial thing, the moratorium on debt and interest payments is the first thing that we have looked at, because we want to improve the cash flows of the companies.
Among the proposals is the reduction of VAT from existing 15% to 5% for hotels and tour operators until the 31st of March next year. The package also includes a moratorium on capital and interest repayment for 1 year for loans taken by the industry. Steps have also been taken to allow the importation of security equipment for hotels duty-free. Speaking to First at 9, President of the Hotels Association of Sri Lanka, Sanathu Kwatta, however, expressed several concerns on the relief package.
We are having a few issues with the package which needs to be ironed out. Our appeal was for a blanket moratorium to all the hotels. However, the circular issued by the central bank last week is for case-by-case approval, which means probably that we might not even be granted a moratorium by the bank. Therefore, our urgent request to the government is for a clear directive for a blanket approval to be issued to the bank. Having said that, we had a very fruitful discussion with the Cabinet-appointed subcommittee yesterday, where the ministers assured us that this matter will be looked into on Monday and our request will be granted.
Meanwhile, President of the Colombo Hotels Association, M. Shantikumar, called for the need to lift travel bans imposed on Sri Lanka if the country is to resuscitate its tourism industry.
Currently, the occupancy in the city of Colombo is around 7 to 8%. For recovery period will be at least 6 to 8 months. The need of the hour is to make sure the travel bans are lifted. 5 countries has a travel ban, essential travel only. Until the travel ban is softened, it will be difficult for recovery. The industry in whole has been making representation to the authorities and also to the respective embassies to soften the travel advisory, which I believe will be done as quick as possible. Once it is done, the recovery will begin.
So how does the informal sector of the hospitality industry fit into the government's relief plans? There have been calls to incorporate the informal sector into the formal sphere for some time, and some in the informal sector have made a concerted effort to steer clear from registering their businesses, with tax being at the heart of it. The Anuradhapura Tourism and Hoteliers Association laments that many small and medium-scale tourist establishments run the risk of missing out on the government's relief package.
මේ සිදුවීමේදීත් මේ ලබා දෙන ණය සහනය අපිට ලබා ගන්න නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම සංචාරක ප්‍රවර්තන අධිකාරිය ලියාපදිංචි වී තිබිය යුතුයි කියලා අපිට රාවයක් යනවා. එවැනි නීතියක් ආවොත් කිසිදු සුළු සහ මධ්‍යම පරිමාණයේ ව්‍යාපාරිකයන්ට මේ සහනය ලබා ගන්න සිදු වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද හේතුව පසුගිය කාලයේදී කිසිම අවස්ථාවක මේ සංචාරක ප්‍රවර්තන අධිකාරිය ලියාපදිංචි වීම අනිවාර්යයි කියලා කිසි දෙනෙක් සඳහන් වුණෙත් නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලන් ඒ සඳහා ක්‍රියාත්මක වුණෙත් නැහැ. ඒ නීති බලපෑවුනේත් නැහැ. අපි මේ පීඩාවටපත් වී සිටින අවස්ථාවක කරුණා කරලා දැඩි නීති රීති නොදා මේ මුදල සියලුම දෙනාට ලබාගෙන අපේ ප්‍රදේශයේ පමණක් අපි ගන්න සංගණනයක් කරා. ඒ සංගණනයේදී හෝටල් 26කට ආසන්න ප්‍රමාණයක් මේ වෙනකොට තව මාස 2කින් හෝ 3ක ඇතුළත කාලයකදී එක්කෝ බැංකුවට සින්නවනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් විකුණන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා. මේ බැංකුවක් අපේ දේපල ගත්තා කියලා බැංකුවට හෝටලයක් කරන් යන්න බෑ. කවදාවත් ඒගොල්ලන් කරන්නේ ගේට්ටුව වහලා විල යතුරු අරන් යන එක. එතකොට මේ බැංකුව වලට මේ අපේ හෝටල් 21ක තියෙන කාමර විශාල සංඛ්‍යාවක් වහලා තිබ්බොත් අපේ නගරය තුල තියෙන කාමර අවශ්‍යතාවයට කවුද මුහුණ දෙන්නේ? එතකොට ඒක අවදානමක් නෙමෙයිද අපේ සංචාරක ව්‍යාපාරයට? අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම අපේ සංචාරක ව්‍යාපාරයේ ඉන්න සියලුම ව්‍යාපාරිකයන් ආරක්ෂා කරගත යුතුයි. එහෙම නැත්නම් විශාල ප්‍රශ්නකට රජයට අනාර්ථය මුහුණ දෙන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා.
According to Reuters, cancellation rates at hotels across the country averaged 70% as of last Saturday, with capital Colombo taking a bigger hit. A sustained collapse in tourism following the attacks on churches and hotels would deal a severe blow to the island's economy, which is the third largest and fastest growing source of foreign currency.
Views on the government's relief package for the tourism sector will be coming up on the other side of this break. Stay tuned.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel. This is AdaDerana 24.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, the US is sending a Patriot missile defense system to the Middle East amid escalating tensions with Iran. A warship, USS Arlington, with amphibious vehicles and aircraft on board, will also join the USS Abraham Lincoln strike group in the Gulf. Pentagon said that US B-52 bombers have arrived in a base in Qatar. The US said the moves were a response to a possible threat to US forces in the region by Iran, without specifying which. Iran, however, dismisses the claim as nonsense. Tehran has described the deployment as psychological warfare aimed at intimidating the country. Iran has also suggested it may resume uranium enrichment to nuclear activities. The Pentagon says US forces are responding to a possible threat to US forces, but did not offer any specifics regarding those threats. The latest Pentagon statement says Washington is ready to defend US forces and interests in the region, adding that the US did not seek conflict with Iran. The UN Refugee Agency says that at least 65 migrants have died after their boat capsized in the Mediterranean off the coast of Tunisia. It said 16 people were rescued. Survivors say the boat left Zuwara in Libya on Thursday and ran into trouble during strong waves. The incident is thought to be one of the deadliest shipwrecks involving migrants since the start of the year. Now, there was a thrilling matchup between the sport's two upcoming stars at the Madrid Open last evening. If that wasn't enough, both Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer were also on court. Let's see what happened.
Dominic Thiem edged a thrilling clash with Roger Federer 3-6, 7-6, 6-4 to end the Swiss veteran's clay season comeback and reach the Madrid Open semi-finals yesterday. Stefanos Tsitsipas meanwhile beat reigning champion Alexander Zverev to reach the semis. In a battle between two of tennis's most celebrated up-and-coming talents, Tsitsipas prevailed 7-5, 3-6, 6-2. There, however, were no close shaves for Rafael Nadal as the Spaniard cruised past Stan Wawrinka 6-1, 6-2 in the last Madrid Open quarter-final.
And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.